In terms of the disparity between the teams, so you kind of have France obviously have a very talented team, but they're not showing up. But what can be done to kind of bridge the gap between the likes of Scotland, who played well in the autumn internationals, but then once they come to Six Nations, they've collapsed? Essentially, they played well against France, but France are nonchalant. Like, what do you do to bring up Italy? Do you bring in another country? Do you bring in Georgia? Or what do you do? Like, do you just constantly give them the wooden spoon?
Yeah,
it's a red arse, right?
Interesting to see that the Italian clubs are actually progressing. Like Treviso had 5 wins in a row. Zebra obviously beat Connacht, unfortunately for the Connacht fans here. So they actually are making progress there. Their under 20 team actually is pretty good now. We saw that against Ireland. Even with a man down, they nearly came back and kind of stole an unlikely victory. So the signs of progress are probably there underneath the top tier. It is unbelievably frustrating that they just give up 8 tries every time they come over and play one of the big nations. But I think there is signs of them improving there. If you throw them out of the championship, then they're going to regress unbelievably. And all that work that's gone in over the last couple of decades even is all for nothing. It's obviously frustrating for Georgia, but I just don't think you can get rid of Italy like that now.
I think you would have played against Italy in 2011 in Rome, and they actually nearly turned us over, and obviously they did beat us subsequently. but I mean, going back to I think it was Owen Redden who set up Roger's drop goal that day actually to win the game. But you put in the hard yards.
I went off, we were comfortable, and then
the team here,
things let slip a bit. But
have the rest of the teams now pulled further away from Italy than they were? Like, there probably was a kind of a 5-year spell where they looked like they were making small progress, but now that seems to be the gap is wide again.
It's
now.
Definitely widened, but it's a good question, but it's strange because you think Irish teams, obviously Irish provinces are really strong, and that kind of feeds into the national team. Like the last few years, even when Wales are really good, they're like the teams were struggling in Europe and even struggling in the league. So it doesn't necessarily correlate that when your teams are strong. Even Glasgow have had a big push the last few years, but it hasn't translated into international rugby. So, like, obviously it's a difficult one, and they've had brilliant coaches. Vern Cotter has been a very good coach. He's well renowned, but he hasn't been able to translate, the Glasgow rugby into international rugby, because it's a massive step up to international rugby, even from European rugby. You just don't get the space. The physicality is up 25%. It's mad. You think when you're playing even against 15 internationals in the European Cup, you think that would be the same as international rugby, but for whatever reason it isn't. So it's just there's so little space and so little time in the ball. So I don't know how. I'm glad I'm not an international coach. I think the gap is only widening for the top teams, and it's going to be hard to bridge that gap. But you can't kick Italy out of the competition. You just gotta it's for revenue alone. They're not going to do it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a great weekend away.
Yeah, it is.
It's a good weekend.